The Young and the Restless star Melody Thomas Scott and her husband, producer Edward J. Scott, have written a love story worthy of its own Emmy. This October, the beloved daytime queen and her behind-the-scenes powerhouse celebrate 40 years of marriage, 4 decades of laughter, loyalty, and a love that's as enduring as Victor and Nikki's, minus the divorces. Together forever, that seems to be our deal, Melody quipped with a laugh in a recent interview. Her trademark sparkle and humor were unmistakable, but behind the playful tone was something deeper: gratitude. After all, 40 years in Hollywood, much less 40 years in a marriage forged in that world, is no small miracle. For Melody and Edward, it's been a journey defined not by drama, but by deep partnership, mutual respect, and a shared passion for storytelling, both on-screen and off. A romance born in the studio lights. Their story begins, fittingly, on the set of The Young and the Restless in the early 1980s. Melody had already been cast as Nikki Reed, the troubled yet ambitious young woman whose transformation from stripper to socialite would become one of daytime television's most iconic character arcs. Edward, meanwhile, was one of the show's producers, known for his meticulous attention to story and his quiet authority behind the camera. It wasn't love at first sight, not exactly. We were both professionals, Melody once recalled. I didn't walk into the studio thinking I'd meet my future husband that day. But as the weeks turned into months, their connection deepened. Edward admired Melody's professionalism and the intelligence she brought to every scene. Melody, for her part, found herself drawn to his calm presence and his quiet but steady support. Their friendship blossomed first, long before the first spark turned romantic. They would talk about everything from movies to family to the oddities of life in the television industry. Then, one afternoon after filming, Edward asked her to dinner. I thought, oh, this will be nice, just dinner, Melody later joked. But by dessert, I think I knew. This wasn't just a colleague or a friend. This was someone who saw me, really saw me. Life imitating art, minus the chaos. When the couple married in 1985, fans couldn't help but draw parallels between Melody's on-screen life as Nikki Newman and her real-life love story. On television, Nikki's romantic entanglements with Victor Newman, Eric Braeden, had already become legendary, a fiery saga of breakups, makeups, and $1 million mansions worth of melodrama. But off-screen, Melody's relationship with Edward couldn't have been more different. People always ask if I brought home any of Nikki's drama, Melody laughed in a 2019 CBS Soaps in-depth interview. I like to think Edward would have filed for divorce years ago if I had. Edward himself has said the secret to their lasting love is balance, knowing when to step back, when to listen, and when to laugh. Melody has such a strong sense of humor, he once said. It's hard to stay upset when she's making you laugh about something that happened 5 minutes ago. Their partnership thrived because they respected each other's worlds. Edward understood the unpredictable demands of an actor's life, the long hours, the emotional investment in fictional stories. Melody, in turn, respected his quiet devotion to the craft of producing, the endless meetings, the late-night edits, the constant balancing act of art and logistics. We both understood the pressures, Melody shared. We were in it together. And that made all the difference. Behind the scenes, a family built on love and creativity. Over the years, Melody and Edward built not just a marriage but a family that reflected their shared values of hard work, humor, and heart. They raised 3 daughters together, Jennifer, Alexandra, and Elizabeth, each carving out her own creative path. Family has always been the center of everything, Melody said. It's the grounding force. When you've got that, the rest of life feels manageable. The Scotts' home became a haven of warmth and laughter, often filled with scripts, rehearsal notes, and the inevitable Hollywood chaos, but also love, dinners together, and long evenings spent discussing everything from art to current events. We've had our share of challenges, Edward admitted in a 2020 interview. But I think what's kept us strong is that we've never stopped talking. Even when things get tough, Melody and I have always been able to sit down and figure it out, together. It's a theme that echoes throughout their relationship: communication, partnership, and humor. Melody often jokes that Edward's calm nature balances out her fiery one. He's the Victor to my Nikki, she laughs, but without the billion-dollar temper. Through the highs, the lows, and the Emmy nights. Through the decades, Melody's career soared to iconic status. Her portrayal of Nikki Newman became one of daytime television's most enduring performances, layered, emotional, and deeply human. She won numerous accolades, fan polls, and industry honors. Edward's career flourished as well, From The Young and the Restless to The Bold and the Beautiful and beyond, his producing credits and leadership earned him immense respect in Hollywood. Yet through every red carpet, every studio milestone, every career high or low, they remained each other's anchor. "There's no one I'd rather have sitting next to me at an awards show," Melody said. "Even when we don't win, he'll lean over and whisper some little joke that makes me laugh until my mascara runs. That's love. It's also resilience. The entertainment industry can be ruthless, unpredictable schedules, public scrutiny, endless travel, but Melody and Edward navigated it all with quiet strength. I think we always saw our marriage as something sacred," Melody reflected. "The work can be wild, the business can be brutal, but when we come home, that's our sanctuary." The secret to 40 years. So what's the secret to a 40-year marriage? Patience, Melody teased, and separate bathrooms. But beneath the humor lies something more profound. It's about mutual respect, she continued. "We've always been equals. We support each other's dreams, we celebrate each other's victories, and when things get hard, as they inevitably do, we hold on tighter instead of letting go." Edward agrees. "It's about growing together," he said. "The person you marry isn't the exact same person 20, 30, 40 years later. You both evolve. The key is to evolve in harmony, to keep finding new reasons to fall in love." Their shared commitment has inspired fans and colleagues alike. Y&R co-star Eric Braeden once described them as the real-life fairy tale we all root for. Longtime crew members say the Scotts are as genuine off-camera as they seem in interviews, kind, loyal, and generous. "They treat everyone with respect," one production assistant noted. "You can tell they're a team, always looking out for each other and the people around them." Marking the milestone, to celebrate their 40th anniversary, Melody and Edward opted for something intimate rather than extravagant. "We've done the big dinners, the galas, the red carpets," Melody said. "This year, we wanted something quieter, just us, our girls, and a few close friends. Maybe a little champagne, a lot of laughter, and definitely no speeches." But there was one surprise Edward couldn't resist. He arranged for a small string quartet to play in their backyard, performing a medley of themes from The Young and the Restless, including, of course, the classic, Nadia's theme. When Melody heard the first notes drift across the evening air, she was moved to tears. "That song is so much a part of my life," she said. "It felt like all those years, all the memories, the stories, the laughter, were wrapped up in that melody." No pun intended. A legacy beyond the screen. Beyond the glitz of Hollywood and the decades of soap opera stardom, Melody and Edward's marriage represents something timeless, a reminder that enduring love is possible, even in a world built on scripted drama. They've weathered the storms of fame, the unpredictability of life, and the ever-changing landscape of television. Yet through it all, they've remained each other's greatest fans. "I think we both still wake up every morning and choose each other," Melody said. "That's the real secret, choosing love, every day." As they look ahead, neither seems ready to slow down. Melody continues to appear on The Young and the Restless, where Nikki Newman remains one of the show's emotional anchors. Edward continues to consult and produce, lending his expertise to projects that keep the heart of daytime television alive. Retirement. Melody laughed when asked about it. "Maybe someday. But honestly, I can't imagine not doing what we love. And as long as we're together, I think that's all that matters." The final scene. A love that lasts. At the end of the day, Melody Thomas Scott and Edward J. Scott have written a real-life script that outshines even the grandest soap opera storylines. 40 years of love, laughter, and shared purpose, not always perfect, but always true. When asked how she would sum up her marriage in one sentence, Melody didn't hesitate. "Together forever," she said softly. "That seems to be our deal." And for fans who've watched her embody one of daytime TV's most iconic love stories for over 4 decades, it's a poetic full circle. Nikki Newman may have found her eternal match in Victor, but Melody Thomas Scott found hers in Edward J. Scott, the man who turned her real life into something even more beautiful than fiction. Here's to 40 years, and counting, of a love story that proves, once and for all, that sometimes the greatest romances aren't written in scripts, but in the everyday choices to stay, to laugh, and to love.